Chapter 6 Resistance to Change. I am in the rhythm and flow of ever-changing life. Awareness is the first step in healing or changing. When we have some patterns buried deeply within us, we must become aware of it in order to heal the condition. Perhaps we begin to mention the condition, to complain about it, or to see it in other people. It rises to the surface of our attention in some way, and we begin to relate to it. We often attract a teacher, friend, a class or workshop, or a book to ourselves that begins to awaken new ways to approach the dissolving of the problem. My awakening began with a chance remark of a friend who had been told about a meeting. My friend didn't go, but something within me responded, and I went. That little meeting was the first step on my pathway of unfoldment. I didn't recognize the significance of it until some time later. Often, a reaction to the first stage is to think the approach is silly, or that it doesn't make sense. Perhaps it seems too easy or unacceptable to our thinking. We don't want to do it. Our resistance comes up very strong. We might even feel angry about the thought of doing it. Such a reaction is very good if we can understand that it is the final step in our healing process. I tell people that any reaction they might feel is there to show them they are already in the process of healing, even though the total healing is not yet completed. The truth is that the process begins the moment we begin to think about making a change. Impatience is only another form of resistance. It is resistance to learning and to changing. When we demand that it be done right now, completed at once, then we don't give ourselves time to learn the lesson involved with the problem we have created. If you want to move to another room, you have to get up and move step by step in that direction. Just sitting in your chair and demanding that you be in the other room will not work. It's the same thing. We all want our problem to be over with, but we don't want to do the small things that will add up to the solution. Now is the time to acknowledge our responsibility in having created the situation or condition. I'm not talking about having guilt, nor about being a bad person for being where you are. I'm saying to acknowledge the power within you that transforms every thought into experience. In the past, we unknowingly used this power to create things we did not want to experience. We were not aware of what we were doing. Now, by acknowledging our responsibility, we become aware and learn to use this power consciously in positive ways for our benefit. Often, when I suggest a solution to the client, a new way to approach a matter of forgiving the person involved, I will see the jaw begin to clench and jut up, the arms crossed tightly over the chest, maybe even fist will form. Resistance is coming to the fore, and I know we have hit upon exactly what needs to be done. We all have lessons to learn, the things that are so difficult for us, are only the lessons we have chosen for ourselves. If things are easy for us, then they are not lessons, but are things we already know. Lessons can be learned through awareness. If you think of the hardest thing for you to do, how much you resisted, then you look at your greatest lesson at the moment. Surrendering, giving up the resistance and allowing yourself to learn what you need to learn will make the next step even easier. Don't let your resistance stop you from making the changes. We can work on two levels. 1. Looking at the resistance, and 2. Still making the mental changes. Observe yourself, watch how you resist, and then go ahead and away. Non-verbal clues or actions often show our resistance. For instance, changing the subject, leaving the room, going to the bathroom, being late, getting sick, procrastinating by doing something else, doing busy work, wasting time, looking away or out the window, flipping through a magazine, refusing to pay attention, eating, drinking, smoking, creating or ending a relationship, creating breakdowns, cars, appliances, plumbing. Assumptions. We often assume things about others to justify our resistance. We make statements such as, I wouldn't do any good anywhere. My husband, wife won't understand. I would have to change my whole personality. Only crazy people go to therapists. They couldn't help me with my problem. They couldn't handle my anger. My case is different. I don't want to bother them. It will work itself out. Nobody else does it. Beliefs. We grow up with beliefs that become our resistance to changing. Some of our limiting ideas are, it's not done. It's just not right. It's not right for me to do that. That wouldn't be spiritual. Spiritual people don't get angry. Men, women, just don't do that. My family never did that. Love, it's not for me. It's too far to drive. It's too much work. It's too expensive. I will take too long. I don't believe in it. I'm not that kind of person. Them. We give our power to others and use that excuse as our resistance to changing. We have ideas like, God doesn't approve. I'm waiting for the stars to stay. It's okay. This isn't the right environment. They won't let me change. I don't have the right teacher, book, class, tools. My doctor doesn't want me to. I can't get time off work. I don't want to be under their spell. It's all their fault. They have to change first. As soon as I get... I do it. They don't understand. I don't want to hurt them. It's against my upbringing, religion, philosophy. Self-concepts of 2. We have ideas about ourselves that we use as limitation or resistance to changing. We are too old, too young, too fat, too thin, too short, too tall, too lazy, too strong, too weak, too dumb, too smart, too poor, too worthless, too frivolous, too serious, too stuck. Maybe it just are too much. Delaying tactics. Our resistance often expresses itself as delaying tactics. We use excuses like, I'll do it later. I can't think right now. I don't have the time right now. It will take too much time away from my work. Yes, that's a good idea. I'll do it some other time. I have too many other things to do. I'll think about it tomorrow. As soon as I get through with... As soon as I get back from this trip. The time isn't right. It's too late. It's too soon. Denial. This form of resistance shows up in denial of need to do any changing. Things like, there is nothing wrong with me. I can't do anything about this problem. I was alright last time. What good would it do to change? If I ignore it, maybe the problem will go away. Fear. By far the biggest category of resistance is fear. Fear of the unknown. Listen to those. I'm not ready yet. I'm 8'4". They might reject me. What would the neighbors think? I'm afraid to tell my husband, wife. I might get hurt. I might have to change. It might cost money. I would rather die first or get a divorce first. I don't want anyone to know I have a problem. I'm afraid to express my feelings. I don't want to talk about it. I don't have the energy. Who knows where I might end up? I might lose my freedom. It's too hard to do it. I don't have enough money right now. I might hurt my back. I wouldn't be perfect. I might lose my friends. I don't trust no one. I might hurt my image. I'm not good enough. And on the list goes. Do you recognize some of those ideas, the ways you resist? Look for the resistance in those examples. A client came to me because she was in a lot of pain. She had broke her back, her neck, and her knee in 3 separate accidents. Yet she was late, got lost, and then was stuck in traffic. It was easy for her to tell me all her problems, but the minute I said, "Let me talk for a moment," all sorts of turmoil began. Her contact lenses began to bother her. She wanted to sit in another chair. She had to go to the bathroom. Then her lenses had to come out. I could not keep her attention for the rest of the session. It was all resistance. She wasn't ready to let go and be healed. I discovered her sister had also broken her back twice, and so had her mother. Another client was an actor, a street performer, quite good at it. He bragged about how clever he was at cheating others, especially institutions. He knew how to get away with almost anything, and yet he got away with nothing. He was always broke, at least a month behind the rent, often without a cell phone. His clothes were tacky, work was very sporadic. He had a lot of pains in his body, and his love life was zilch. His theory was that he couldn't stop cheating until some good came into his life. Of course, with what he was giving out, no good could come into his life. He had to stop cheating first. His resistance was that he was not ready to let go of the old ways. You leave your friends alone. Too often, instead of working on our changes, we decide which of our friends needs to change. This too is resistance. In the early days of my work, I had a client who would send me to all her friends in the hospital. Instead of sending them flowers, she would have me go to fix up their problems. I would arrive with my tape recorder in hand, usually finding someone in bed who didn't know why I was there or understand what I was doing. This was before I learned never to work with anyone unless he or she requested. Sometimes clients come to me because a friend has given them a session as a present. This usually doesn't work too well, and they seldom come back for future work. When something worked well for us, we often want to share it with others, but they might not be ready to make a change at that point in time and space. It's hard enough to make changes when we want to, but to try to make someone else change when he or she doesn't want it is impossible. And it can ruin a good friendship. I push my clients because they come to me. I leave my friends alone. Mirror walk. Mirrors reflect back to us our feelings about ourselves. They show us clearly the areas to be changed and we want to have a joyous, fulfilling life. I ask people to look in their eyes and say something positive about themselves every time they pass a mirror. The most powerful way to do affirmations is to look in a mirror and say them out loud. You are immediately aware of the resistance and can move through it quicker. It's good to have a mirror with you as you read this book. Use it often for affirmations and to check where you are resisting and where you are open and flowing. Now, look in a mirror and say to yourself, I am willing to change. Notice how you feel. If you are resistant, or you don't want to change, ask yourself why. What old belief are you holding on to? This is not a time to scold yourself. Just notice what is going on and what belief rises to the surface. That is the one that has been causing you a lot of trouble. Can you recognize where it came from? When we do affirmations and they don't feel right or nothing seems to happen, it's so easy to say, oh, affirmations don't work. It's not that the affirmations don't work, it's that we need to do another step before we begin affirmation. Repeated patterns show us our needs. For every habit we have, for every experience we go through over and over, for every pattern we repeat, there is a need within us for it. The need corresponds to some belief we have. If there were not a need, we wouldn't have it to do it or be it. There is something within us that needs the fat, the poor relationships, the failures, the cigarettes, the anger, the poverty, the abuse, or whatever there is that's a problem for us. How many times we have said, I won't ever do that again. Then before the day is up, we have the piece of cake, smoke the cigarettes, say hateful things to the ones we love, and so on. Then we compound the whole problem by angrily saying to ourselves, oh, you have no willpower, no discipline, you're just weak. This only adds to the load of guilt we already carry. It has nothing to do with willpower or discipline. Whatever we are trying to release in our lives is just a symptom, an auto effect. Trying to eliminate the symptom without working and dissolving the case is useless. The moment we release our willpower or discipline, the symptom crops us again. Willingness to release the need. I say to clients, there must be a need in you for this condition, or you wouldn't have it. Let's go back a step and work on the willingness to release the need. When the need is gone, you will have no desire for the cigarettes or overeating or negative pattern. One of the first affirmations to use it is I am willing to release the need for the resistance or the headache or the consumption or the excessive weight or the lack of money or whatever. Say I am willing to release the need for. If you are resisting at the point, then your other affirmations cannot work. The webs we create around ourselves need to be unwound. If you have ever untangled a ball of string, you know that yanking and pulling only makes it worse. You need to very gently and patiently unravel the knots. Be gentle and patient with yourself as you untangle your own mental knots. Get help if you need it. Above all, love yourself in the process. The willingness to let go of the old is the key. That is the secret. When I say needing a problem, I mean that according to your particular set of thoughts pattern we need to have certain other effects or experiences. Every other effect is the natural expression of an inner thought pattern. The battle on our other effect or symptom is wasted energy and often crashes the problem. I am unworthy creates procrastination. If one of my inner belief system or thoughts pattern is I am unworthy, then one of my other effects will probably be procrastination. After all, procrastination is one way to keep us from getting where we say we want to go. Most people who procrastinate will spend a lot of time and energy berating themselves for procrastinating. They will call themselves lazy and generally will make themselves out to feel they are bad persons. Resentment of another's good. I had a client who loved attention and usually came to class so late he could create a stir. He had been the baby of 18 children, and he came last on the list of getting. As a child he watched everyone else have, while he just longed for his own. Even now, when someone had good fortune, he would not rejoice with them. Instead, he would say, "Oh, I wish I had that," or "Oh, why don't I ever get that?" His resentment of their goods was a barrier to his own growth and change. Self-worth opens many doors. A client who was 79 came to me. She taught singing and several of her students were making television commercials. She wanted to do this too, but was afraid. I supported her totally and explained, "There is nobody like you, just be yourself." I said, "Do it for the fun of it. There are people out there looking for exactly what you have to offer. Let them know you exist." She called several agents and casting directors and said, "I'm a senior citizen and I want to do commercials." In a short time, she had a commercial, and since then, she's never stopped working. I often see her on TV and in magazines. New careers can start at any age, especially when you do it for the fun of it. Self-criticizing is totally missing the mark. It will only intensify the procrastination and laziness. The place to put the mental energy is into releasing the old and creating the new true pattern. Say, I am willing to release the need to be unworthy. I am worthy of the very best in life. I now love and allow myself to accept it. As I spend a few days doing this affirmation over and over, my auto-effects pattern of procrastination will automatically begin to fade. As I internally create a pattern of self-worth, then I no longer have the need to deny my good. Do you see how this could apply to some of the negative patterns or other effects in your life? Let's stop wasting time and energy putting ourselves down for something we can help doing if you have certain inner beliefs. Change your beliefs. No matter how you approach it or what subject matter we are talking about, we are only dealing with thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. When we want to change a condition, we need to say so. I am willing to release the pattern within me that is creating this condition. You can say this to yourself over and over every time you think of your illness or problem. The minute you say it, you are stepping out of the victim class. You are no longer helpless. You are acknowledging your own power. You say, I am beginning to understand that I created this. I now take my own power back. I am going to release this old idea and let it go. Self-criticism. I have a client who will eat a pound of butter and everything else she can get a hold of when she cannot bear to be with her own negative thoughts. The next day she will be angry at her body for being heavy. When she was a little girl, she would walk around the family dinner table, finishing off everyone's leftovers and eating a whole stick of butter. The family would laugh and think it was cute. It was almost the only approval she got from her family. When you scold yourself, when you berate yourself, when you beat yourself up, who do you think you're treating this way? Almost all of our programming, both negative and positive, was accepted by us by the time we were 3 years old. All experiences since then are based upon what we accepted and believed about ourselves and about life at that time. The way we were treated when we were very little is usually the way we treat ourselves now. The person you are scolding is a 3-year-old child within you. If you are a person who gets angry at yourself for being afraid or fearful, think of yourself as being 3 years old. If you had a little 3-year-old child in front of you who was afraid, what would you do? Would you be angry at him? Or would you reach out your arms and comfort the child until he feels safe and at ease? The others around you, when you were a child, might not have known how to comfort you at that time. Now you are the adult in your life, and if you are not comforting the child within you, then that is very sad indeed. What was done in the past is done, and it is over now. But this is present time, and you now have the opportunity to treat yourself the way you wish to be treated. A frightened child needs comforting, not scolding. Scolding yourself only makes you more frightened, and there is nowhere to turn. When the child within feels unsafe, it creates a lot of trouble. Remember how it felt to be belittled when you were young. It feels the same way now to that child within. Be kind to yourself. Begin to love and approve of yourself. That's what that little child needs in order to express itself as its highest potential. In the infinity of life, where I am, all is perfect, whole and complete. I see any resistance patterns within me, only as something else to release. They have no power over me. I am the power in my world. I flow with the changes taking place in my life as the best I can. I approve of myself and the way in any changing. I am doing the best I can. Each day gets easier. I rejoice that I am in the rhythm and flow of my ever-changing life. Today is a wonderful day. I choose to make it so.